Yes. 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 Well, it is a dog, so.
It is Kitu Sa this week too.
Well, that's the whole. Yeah.
It's hard for me to remember now.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. It's just wonderful to be together on this bright and sunny, little cold morning, but it is Shabbat. It is the Shabbat where Seth here becomes Bar Mitzvah, and we are gathered for all of the above, for all of those reasons. You know, Seth, your Bar Mitzvah comes during the month of Adar, right? And for those of you that know or don't know, each month has characteristics in the Hebrew calendar. And the characteristic of Adar is supposed to be joy, right? No matter what the challenge is, no matter what we're going through, and we're all going through a lot, collectively and individually, and as families, we have to recognize that. But regardless, we're supposed to do everything we can to be more filled with joy during Adar. And fittingly, this year, because it's a leap year on the Hebrew calendar, guess what? There's 2 months of Adar, and I think we need that. We need double when it comes to joy.
Extra happiness.
Extra happiness, right? Extra joy and happiness. And so, Seth, I mean, the timing is even more perfect, that you are helping bring not only everyone that's gathered here, your friends and family and members of CRC who love seeing our young people become Bar and Bat Mitzvah, but everyone who's streaming. If you look back there at the camera, we are streaming from near and far. You, Seth, and this service, and you becoming, and this achievement is bringing more joy. The other secret about Adar is it holds a holiday, a Jewish holiday, kind of a carnival, Mardi Gras type Jewish holiday called Purim. And not only is Purim supposed to be joyful, but it's also supposed to be a time of parody, of satire, where anything goes. So I didn't talk to Seth about this, but he designed this cover. Everyone kind of look at the cover of Seth's Siddur, and if you're at home, you can access it. You can access it on the. Seth's proud of it, so lift it up. Leslie gets it.
Yeah.
If you're at home, you can access the Siddur from the stream. This is right in line with Adar and Purim. And I'm not going to some of you might know, some of you are going to think, it's kind of like a Wordle for the day. It's a picture Wordle. By the time this Bar Mitzvah is over, everyone here will know the meaning of the cover of Seth's Siddur. So all of that, having said all of that, we're glad to be together. Rabbi Karen is here, and Rabbi Daniel and their son Gavi is in the AV booth, making sure that everyone who wants to see this Bar Mitzvah and the Shabbat service can be with us. And so there's a lot to be thankful for right now in this moment, which is why we start the service on page, I'll get there.
2.
Yeah, thank you, Seth. Page 2, with a prayer of gratitude. Modeh, Moda Ani. Just to be thankful for this moment, for waking up so that we could be together in this holy place.
Modeh ani lefanecha, ruach chai v'chayam, shehezarta b'nishmati b'tema, b'tema, Rabbi Munitecha, Rabbi Munitecha, Modeh ani lefanecha, ruach v'chayam, shehezarta b'nishmati b'tema, b'tema, Rabbi Munitecha, Rabbi Munitecha, Rabbi Munitecha. We need a little dancing here.
And so, Seth,
Keep dancing.
we would like to make sure that as you lead the service, you feel the tradition embracing you and surrounding you. And the way we do that in the Jewish tradition is by wearing a talit, a prayer shawl, or in my case, a prayer poncho. But very special person in your life, your Uncle Jonathan, is going to come up to present you with a talit that you will wear during this Bar Mitzvah service.
So this is my talit that I had my bar mitzvah almost 28 years now, which is kind of crazy to say. And saying that, seeing Seth growing up, it's just been a real joy. And to share this with him and have a family tradition that we can pass on is something really special to me. I love you, Seth.
There you go. So Jonathan, stay here while Seth reads the blessing, the bracha, for this mitzvah of being the prayer leader and wearing the talis.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kedushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehitatef b'tzitzit.
Amen.
Say amen. You can give another hug to your elbow. There you go.
I love you, buddy.
Thank you, Uncle Jonathan. The awesome rainbow talit. Lots of symbolism in this talis set that you wear, from simple to complex, but it reminds us certainly of our diversity, that we're an Erev Rav. Whenever we gather together, a mixed multitude of people from all different places and traditions and backgrounds, but we can also, in spirit, be unified, which is part of what you're doing through this service, is kind of unifying all of us, weaving us together as one. And so this is one of those tov moments in life. And so we have two songs on page 3 that have that word tov, tovu, which just means goodness. How good is it that we have this opportunity, this privilege to be together? Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who has created me in your image. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani ben chorim. Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who has made me free. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani Yisrael. Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who has made me Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Pokeach Ivrim. Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who opens the eyes of the blind. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Malbish Arumim. Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who provides clothes for the needy. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Hanoten leYa'ef koach. Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who gives strength to the weak. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher hechin mitzadei gaver. Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who guides the steps of human beings. Amen. So if you turn to page 5, you'll see kind of a collection of verses from the book of Psalms from the Hebrew Bible, filled with poetry and we believe songs, literal songs that we're supposed to sort of convey the range of human emotions, all kinds of psalms for all kinds of occasions. And so on Shabbat, we're told to sing in the spirit of Adar, but all the time, joyful psalms. Often, when we're here, this is a time for some moving around and dancing. And we're going to put a hold on that for a bit just because of, we want to make sure we keep each other safe and we want everyone to feel comfortable. But if you would like to stand up where you are, if you feel it, we're going to sing with Andrew and Leslie the last psalm, really the last line of the last psalm in the Bible, the Hallelujah psalm, and with a really great melody. So let's make this a time for some ecstatic prayer and worship and singing, clapping, and making some joyful noise. In the words of the Hebrew prophets, we say, hit it!
Kol hanshama tahaya, hallelujah. Kol hanshama tahaya, hallelujah. Hallelujah,
Shabbat Shalom. So we have hopefully warmed up our bodies and our minds, and we are ready to move into the Shema and its blessings, which Seth will be leading us in quite a bit. But these sections of our service are separated by the Chatzi Kaddish on page 6. So please join with us. Ready?
V'chayechon uvyamechon u'chayedechon Beit Yisrael Ba'gala ba'gala u'vizman kari v'meru Amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevorach le'olam olmei almaya yitbarach v'yishtabach V'yipa'ar v'yitchoma v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yithalev v'yithala Shemei d'kudesha b'richu le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma
Amen. Please rise as we call each other to prayer with the Bar Who.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed HaMevorach HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam yotzer or u'borei choshech oseh shalom u'borei ha'kol hama'ir la'aretz u'valadarim aleha berachamim uvtuvo mechadesh b'chol yom tamid ma'aseh bereshit ma'arabu ma'asecha Adonai Coulom b'chochma asita mala ha'aretz kinyanecha Tiparach Adonai Eloheinu al shavach ma'aseh yadecha ve'al ma'orei or she'asita yiva'arucha sela. Baruch atah Adonai yotzer ha'morot.
Together.
Let us bless the source of life, source of darkness and light, heart of harmony and chaos, creativity and creation. Page 9.
moment to read this passage that I selected to go with the Shema.
From page 11.
Yeah. Please join me in chanting the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Please be seated. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ושוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Together.
Loving life and its mysterious source with all our heart and all our spirit, all our senses and strength, we take upon ourselves and into ourselves these promises: to care for the earth and those who live upon it, to pursue justice and peace, to love kindness and compassion. We will teach this to our children throughout the passage of the day, as we dwell in our homes and as we go on our journeys, from the time we rise until we fall asleep.
I know that we are people who have crossed many seas. In every service, we remember that the price of freedom is often great, as we sing the same words that our ancestors sang after crossing from slavery to freedom at the shores of another sea.
Our songs of freedom on page 13 and also on page 14.
Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 mi kamocha payalim Adonai mi kamocha neda bakodesh mi kamocha Adonai mi kamocha neda bakodesh Torah tehilot osef elei Torah tehilot osef elei shira chadasha Simchat asafat hayam, shiro chadash. Coulom Israel Israel Uvdil Coulom Yehuda Israel Go Aleinu Adonai Sabaoth Shemo Kadosh Israel Baruch Atah Adonai Gal Yisrael Siyaham Bakukun Yekwen Bos Siyaham Bakukun Yekwen Bos Siyaham Bakukun Yekwen Bos Siyaham Bakukun Yekwen Bos Siyaham Siyaham Bakukun Yekwen Bos We are marching in the light of God. 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 We are marching. We are marching. We are marching. We are marching in the light of God. We are marching. We are marching. We are marching. We are marching in the light of God. Milchamocha ba'elim Adonai, milchamocha neder b'kodesh. Milchamocha ba'elim Adonai, milchamocha neder b'kodesh.
So we move out of what we call the preparations for prayer into the part of our service is actually named prayer. So you are welcome to use the words of the page, use the words of your heart. It's a time just to focus on what you're grateful for and anything that's sort of inside you that you want to pay a moment of attention to. So we are on page 15.
That's for.
Well, this is on page 14. We're going to continue on page 15.
All right, please rise.
Smart young man.
Adonai Tifetay Tiftach Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha Adonai Tifetay Tiftach Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha Adonai prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, right and true, and with thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. La 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la la, ya la la la, ya la la la.
Ata Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, Elohei Rachel, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chazdei Avot V'imahot, U'mevii Geula Livnei B'neihem, L'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Ve'Ezrat Sarah.
Together,
Recalling the generations, we weave our lives into the tradition.
Ata Gibor
Elam Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol Atarav L'Hoshia, Mechalkel Chayim B'Chesed, Mechayeh HaKol B'Rachamim Rabim, Somek Noflim V'Rofech Olim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Micha Mocha Ba'al Givurot, Umidon Elach, Melech Memit, Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman Atah L'Hachayot HaKol, Baruch Atah Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol. Amen. Some of you who are regulars, pre and post or closing, and then Seth's classmates might have noticed that Seth's using sometimes a few different translations or interpretations. They come from the Book of Blessings by Marcia Falk, who's a wonderful modern contemporary liturgist. And I've seen it 1,000 times because I love the book, but it really struck me, Seth, what you read for us and with us, how we weave our lives into the tradition. And it feels like that's at the heart of what we're doing here, right? The tradition is important, but so is, so our values and our thoughts and our insights. That's the modern world. Somehow we weave who we are, because as individuals, that's really important, with our traditions and, whatever your tradition is, in this case, the Jewish tradition. And it's a constant dance, weaving our lives into our traditions. And to me, it's the very definition of holiness, which is the theme, if you will, of the next prayer we're going to sing with Andrew and Leslie on pages 19 and 20. Kedusha, we always are attempting to fill in the spaces between us, whether we're in person or virtual, however it is, fill in the spaces between us with goodness and with righteousness and with holiness.
נקדיש שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו משמי מרום, ככתוב היה נביאך, וקרא זה על זה ואמר, קדוש קדוש קדוש, אדוני צבאות, מלוא כל הארץ, כבודו, אדיר אדירנו אדוני, אדוננו מאדיר, שמך בכל הארץ, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד אלוהינו, הוא אבינו מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו ומכל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון. שמך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please be seated.
We are in the middle of page 20 with Vishamru, which is all about Shabbat. And Seth, I remember, before the pandemic, when we were in the kibbutz every Wednesday, and you always had so much energy. And I feel like this is a very appropriate prayer for you and your friends, to take a moment on Shabbat and to take in a deep breath. And you work so hard to get here. And this Shabbat is extra special because you're bringing your energy and yourself to this service and making this like the best Shabbat to celebrate you. So thank you. And we will join together in the words that celebrate Shabbat, that let us know that this is Shabbat and not any other service, with Vishamru, page 20.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, לדורותם ברית עולם.
So we end tefillah on page 23 with a prayer for peace. I was looking at what you picked here, and I think it's very appropriate because we always want peace to come so fast, right? Like these kids want their food really fast. We always think it can come so fast, but really it takes time. And so we always end tefillah with a prayer for peace, so there's more peace in our hearts and in our world and in our communities. We are on page 23.
Sim, 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 shalom. Sim, 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 shalom. Sim, 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 shalom. Tova u'beraka. Sim, 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 shalom. Sim. shalom, sim shalom, u'avracha. Ken v'chesed v'rachamim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Amen. Sim shalom, sim shalom,
For peace. As we were sort of singing and meditating, we've already kind of paid attention to Seth's talit, the rainbow, but I don't know if you can see his kippah, maybe on the stream. You could see it better than those of you in the congregation, but it's the first ever that I've seen Scooby-Doo kippah, and I believe, is it true, Seth, your dad did that, made that?
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, we did last night.
Oh, last night! Wow. I know, and you got a special one, Julia.
I set the house on fire.
So, well, maybe you can start a whole thing. Jimmy's kippahs. Well, we'll work on some marketing for that. But it's Shabbat, so for now, we just want to appreciate it. That's pretty awesome. That's like a bonus, you know, to be able, not only to have a bar mitzvah, but to wear a Scooby-Doo kippah on your bar mitzvah. I mean, you know, kind of lifts you up even higher. So, with that having been said, we spent a little time with silent meditation, prayer, reflection. You can go back through the prayers and passages on the prayer book, or your own meditations, your own longings, that which you pray for. Take some time, and then we'll come back for the Torah service. Sit down.
Shalom bibromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel.
Please rise.
So that we can start the Torah service. Really, what a blessing, Seth, that you have your 5 grandparents here. So if those of you who are amongst those 5 grandparents, come on up. I'm going to ask you to join us. And of course, Seth, your mom and dad, and also your sister, Julia. Remember, you have a job, so come on up. A roll, let's call it a roll. So grandparents go over there with, over here by me. Julia, you go by the ark doors. Seth, you go right next to your dad at the end. So kind of make room for everyone.
Keep going.
There you go. Perfect. So, Julia, if you will do us the great honor of opening the doors to the ark. Thank you very much. All right, and you guys can kind of, however, we'll work it out. I want to make sure everyone's comfortable. There we go. Look at that, Seth. Your family. Look at that. So, of course, this line represents, your family. And all the people here from your family that are in the congregation watching with amazement as you become Bar Mitzvah, When people have known you forever, Seth, this is really amazing. It's one of the only words to describe it, how this feels. So they're standing here with love and pride, and I hope you can feel their strength and their blessings standing up here on the bima with you. So yes, this is your family. They represent all of your family. But it also represents all the generations that have led to you and everything you've received from them, your grandparents, and even beyond. You'll mention some people when it's time for Kaddish, great parents and great-great-grandparents, right? All who, somehow or another, whether you knew them or didn't, have transmitted things to you that have helped make you yourself. And of course, you have some Seth stuff that's all yours, buddy, right? Your contributions to yourself. That's kind of what we are. That's what I think the word soul is, Our soul is all of our experiences and our influences and what we've learned and what we know and who we are, all inside of us. So in a moment, I'm going to put this Torah into your Bubby's hands. Every grandparent has a different grandparent name, right? This is Bubby, and we're going to go through the generations to your parents and then to you, because we're going to pass you the Torah. And then you're going to actually read from the Torah. So we're passing this physical scroll to you, also knowing that it's also a metaphor as well. Everything that has been passed to you from all the different traditions that that are part of you and your family, right? But this physical Torah scroll we use very purposefully when there are bar and bat mitzvahs, b'nai mitzvot. We use it very purposefully because, as I think you know, because you've been here for your friends, this scroll is a survivor scroll. This Torah survived the Holocaust. It comes from a small village in Czechoslovakia called Holosov, one of those many, many, many villages in Europe that sadly their whole Jewish population was wiped out because of the hatred and evil of the Nazis. But they preserved the Torah like they did a lot of Torahs because they wanted to have a museum after the war was over to show people what the Jewish people used to be like when they existed. But although we lost far too many people, and it was one of the most horrific, parts of history, certainly of Jewish history and world history, we survived. And so these Torahs didn't go into museum. They were adopted by congregations all over the world so that we could teach each other and especially our youth what it means to survive and then to thrive and to still, despite it all, bring the Torah values of peace and goodness and compassion and love into our lives and into the world. So that's a lot. It's a lot. And Bar Mitzvah is a responsibility, but we hope also, Seth, it's a great joy. And you are someone who is filled with joy. Talk about Adar. You really are. You can see it even with your mask on. It comes out through your eyes. We can read you, and you always find a way to bring sparkle and joy into life. And that's part of your Torah as well. So it's an honor, as I said, to put this Torah in the hands of grandma to grandma and grandpa and another grandpa and another grandma. And we're going to skip over your sister because it's your turn in a couple of years, to your mom, who's one of our teachers in religious school, and your dad, a kippah maker, among other things. Into your arms, Seth, and just hold it there. Come up with me again with your family at your back. How's that feel? You all right? All right. So take a moment, because this is one of those, again, holy moments. Holding the Torah, about to chant Torah for us. And so we want to make sure this is a time of listening with our hearts and our souls and our minds to Seth and to how he not only reads Torah, but how he understands Torah as well, which is equally important. So the Shema says, listen. And so tell us again how much we should be listening right now.
Shema
Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shema. And if you will, you can put your books down on your chair so your hands are free for clapping. If you feel comfortable, your feet can be free for dancing as well, whether you dance in place or kind of follow Seth around. Again, we want everyone to feel comfortable in this environment that we're living through, all of us. But this is a time for community. It's a time to celebrate Seth and, of course, celebrate Torah. And so, again, we'll have some music and some dancing. You can connect to Seth, connect to the Torah and his family. And so, Echad, Shtaim, Shalosh is just Hebrew for 1, 2, 3. Please be seated. Oh, I took your job, Seth, for a second. But you have a more important one anyway, so.
You might want to trade.
Too late. All right, so we are now settled down. Hope you had a good sort of get out your spilkies, and we call that hakafah, which is the Hebrew word for circle. So just kind of a joyful circling time. And we swapped Torahs. We put the survivor scroll back in the ark, and this is our scroll that has a cover that says tikkun. You can see it right there behind me. Tikkun means repair, and it's from the Hebrew phrase. We use it in a Hebrew phrase called tikkun olam, repairing the world. And there's lots of ways to make the world better, and I promise you, Seth, you're doing it right now as we speak. You really are, making the world a better place. So, my friends, the Torah is open, and we are in the cycle of Torah reading, still reading the book of Exodus. We've gone past slavery, thank God, and crossed the sea. You kind of heard an echo of that in Micha Mocha prayer. And now we're at the portion Ki Tisa again. Spoiler alert. Remember Seth's ingenious creative cover. Just keep it in mind. It kind of gives you a hint of what's going on in Ki Tisa. And Seth, we want to fill this bima, we want to fill this moment with blessings from people in your life who will bring the traditional blessing around hearing Torah, which is a mitzvah. And so we're going to bring your Bubby back. And I'm going to call her Hebrew name, which is Tova, correct? Tova, which, as we know, means good or goodness. So, Ta'amod, Aliyah LeTorah, Tova, Rishonah, Bubby. And if you want to follow along with Seth, both the Hebrew and the English translation can be found on page 26. I also want to mention before we hear the first aliyah that we want to recognize your tutor, who is Rabbi Jim, who I'm sure is watching from home. And actually I have words from Rabbi Jim specifically for you for later in the service, but want to recognize the time you guys spent together as teacher and student. Really a wonderful kind of relationship. And so now, Tova, whenever you're ready, the blessing on page 26.
Baruch Adonai HaBarak.
Baruch Adonai
Olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaBarak. Adonai Eloheinu. Melech HaOlam Asher B'Krabanu.
Mikol
Ha'amim.
Et Torah. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Vaydaber Adonai al Moshe Lemor. Ki tisa et rosh bnei Yisrael. Livkudehem v'natnu ish kofer nafsho. L'Adonai bifkod hotam v'lo yiher vahem. Negev bifkod otam. Ze yitnu kol ha'over al hapikudim. Mahatzit hashekel hashekel hakodesh. Oh, okay. Esrim gera hashekel. Mahatzit hashekel. Vashekel hakodesh. Wait. Oh, okay. Adirma Adonai.
There you go. Hold it right there. And the blessing for after. You got it? Whenever you're ready. That's on page 27.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet b'kei olam nata b'ketenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen is right. All right, Seth, you stay right here, but make room because now we're going to bring your parents back so they can say the blessing and be right next to you with pride and love. So here's your mom and dad, Ya'amdu, Sarah, Elisheva, Bat Gershon, Vitova, Vijimi, Aliyah Torah, Sheni, your parents.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai hamvorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Kol ha'over al hapikudim. Miben Esrim Shana Vamala Yitain Terumat Adonai Ashir Lo Yarben Vehadal Lo Yamit Bimahatzit Hashekel Latate Et Terumat Ladonai. Okay. Lechaper al nafshotehem.
You got it. All right. And now, Sarah and Jim, the blessing after.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. All right. Actually, you're going to stay up here, and we'll have your grandma take a seat, because we want your parents to be here, Seth, because although you've been our Torah chanter all along, this is your Aliyah. I'm going to call you to the Torah. Really proud to do this as one of your rabbis, on behalf of all the rabbis. To call you to the Torah, according to the tradition, is what makes you Bar Mitzvah. You've done a whole lot more, and you've got more to do. But this is sort of the singular moment that makes you, among all the other things you are, a bar mitzvah. And, we often think of bar mitzvah as a thing or an event, which, there's nothing wrong with that. But technically, bar mitzvah is a person who becomes bar mitzvah. And today, Seth, that's you. You will become bar mitzvah after I call you to the Torah. I'm going to use Seth's Hebrew name, which is actually the Hebrew name for Seth, Shet. From the Torah, from the very beginning of the Torah, Shet. But you also have a second name, which I want to just mention, which is Michael. You are Shet Michael. I'm sure that name has lots of resonance for your family, but it's also an angel name in the Jewish tradition. Any name that has El at the end, which is one of the names for God, is an angel name. So, we all have different ways of what we think what an angel is. Leslie's really fond of talking about angels as the angels are among us, which I tend to resonate with that theology as well. And I don't know, did you ever think of yourself as an angel, Seth? Yeah, well, we do. We do. So we compensate for, that's a good question. Angel, yes or no?
Most of the time.
Most of the time, that's, you know what? Even the angels were angels only most of the time, right? So, my friend, our angel, our Bar Mitzvah, I'm going to call you to the Torah, and you're going to finish chanting the portion of the week. Ya'amod Shet Michael Ben Jimmy V'Sara Elisheva Aliyah Torah Bar HaMitzvah.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvorah.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah. Oh, they got moved again, I think.
V'lakach. Right here.
Lakachta et kesef hakipurim. May 8 Bein Yisrael Bnei Yisrael v'natata oto alavodad ohel moed v'haya livnei Yisrael lizikaron lifnei Adonai L'chaper al nafshotehem. Okay, we had it spaced when we practiced. We had it spaced out differently.
Oh.
We had it where we did the aliyahs in different spots.
Oh, well, go ahead.
Keep going.
All right. Vaydaber Adonai al Moshe lemor. V'asita kior nechoshet. V'chano nechoshet lorotza. V'natata oto. Bein ohel moed. Uvein amizbeach, v'natata shama mayim, v'rahatzu Aharon uvanav mimenu. Oh wait. All right. Et yidehem v'et raglehem.
Oh, so sorry. Blessing after.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tuheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Beautiful. Yasher Koach, turn around and get some nachas from your parents. Beautiful, beautiful job. And you guys can have a seat.
Yasher Koach, Seth, that was amazing. And before you continue teaching us Torah, bless you, we take a moment while the Torah is still out for a prayer of healing for all of those that we're thinking of, all of those in our community need a little bit of extra blessing sent their way. I have some people I'm going to say for the congregation, and then any names you would like to add, please feel free to do so. So I'm just going to say Jennifer Gibson, Richard McPherson, Paul Hershkowitz, Jim Cohen, Walter Lazenby, Clarence Bear Robinson, Marvin Crane, Joan Butcher, Vara Kropf, Marcia Marsh, and Michael Davenport. Are there other names people would like to add for a healing prayer?
Jill Hollifield.
Thank you. Yeah, Larry. Thank you, Susan. Thank you. Did I miss anyone?
I know we have someone who is always right there, Eileen Ehrlich, who's home from the hospital with a little pneumonia, but she's much better. And I know she's watching. She said she'd watch. So Eileen, keep on getting better. Mm-hmm. And then also, anyone, Daniel, Rabbi Daniel from the stream?
So Annette is thinking of her sister, Toby Schreiber, and Mandy Hertz is thinking of Mabel DeVroe.
Thank you. So we send blessings of healing to each and every one of these people, whether we said their name or whether we're holding them in our hearts.
Jeff Busby.
Mishaberach avoteinu mekor the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach Imolodenu Mekor Avrecha Leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with Refuah Shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say
We say, Baruch atah Adonai Rofei HaCholim. Blessed are you, holy presence in our universe, who enables us to bring healing to the sick. Okay. So if you are following along, we're on page 28. For every Torah portion, there's a section taken from outside of the Torah to complement the Torah portion that Seth read so beautifully. And this morning, Seth is going to read from 1 Kings chapter 18. And this, when you hear him talk about the Torah portion, you'll understand why this was chosen, but it's really to complement the same themes that we've been talking about all morning.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar neviim tovim v'ratzah v'divehem hane'emarim ba'emet. Baruch atah Adonai haboher b'Torah u'Moshe avdo u'Yisrael amo u'v'imviei ha'emet v'tzedek. Vayehi yamim rabim udvar Adonai haya el Eliyahu vashana hashlishit lemor lehera el achav v'atana matar al panei ha'adama. Vayelech Eliyahu leheraot el achav v'hara'av hazak b'shomron. Vayikra Echav el Avadyahu asher al habayit ve'avadyahu haya yarei al pen et Adonai me'od. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam tzor kol ha'olomim tzadik bechol hadorot ha'el ha'ne'eman ha'omer ve'oseh ha'mdaber u'mekayem shekol devarav emet v'tzedek al ha'torah v'al ha'avodah v'al hanvi'im v'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh v'shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu likudashav limnuha lechavod ultifaret al hakol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim la umvarkim ota yitbarach simcha b'fi kol chai tamid leolam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabat.
Amen.
Really. So Rabbi Karen and I are going to sit down, and there's nothing on the book for you to look at right now. So everyone gets to put their eyes up and ears up towards Seth, because this was what's called a Devar Torah. Words that Seth has prepared that flow from the Torah and goes into whatever direction, his mind and spirit led him in. So pay attention, and hopefully this is also a teaching, something that we can all take home with us from not only being able to see Seth become Bar Mitzvah, but something that we can really learn from in our own lives. So this is Seth's commentary, Devar Torah.
The portion that I just chanted, Ki Tisa, is the story of Moses and the golden calf. At least that's what they keep telling me. It is where God claims that they're a perfect being, one that is, and I quote, compassionate and gracious, slow to anger, abounding in kindness and faithfulness, extending kindness to the thousandth generation, forgiving iniquity, transgression, and sin. This line stuck out to me as there are contradictions of this statement throughout this portion and many others. For example, when Moses is still up on Mount Sinai, God says, quote, hurry down, for your people, whom you brought out of the land of Egypt, have acted basely. They have been quick to turn aside from the way I enjoined upon them, end quote. Talk about quick to turn. About 2 sentences later, God calls them stiff-necked and tells Moses to leave God alone so God can destroy the Jews. Also, God talks as if it was Moses' idea to lead them out, which, as we read earlier in Exodus 3, 1 through 15, God commanded that Moses lead the Jews out of Egypt, even though Moses didn't really want to at first. But over time, Moses comes to enjoy being the leader, even if there are some annoyances. Climbing a mountain once or twice, technically 2 or 4 times if you count coming back down, but almost getting smitered numerous times, and does 40 years in the desert ring a bell? Anyway, I think that this behavior, on everyone's part, is a great case of reality versus idealism. God doesn't want to take responsibility for their actions by saying Moses was responsible for the Exodus. When Moses goes up on Mount Sinai and leaves the people at the base of a mountain, he wants the Israelites to behave perfectly while he is gone. I mean, honestly. Hey guys, I'm like 80 years old. I'm going to go climb a mountain in sandals and a bathrobe. Probably won't hear back from me in 40 days, give or take. BRB. But coming back to Moses changing for the better, regarding enjoying his leadership duties, I think we should all take a page from his book on that. I believe that change is good as long as it's for the greater benefit. Everyone else's behavior is like figurative language for expectations of ourselves. We want to have people in power with the positive qualities of God, and we ourselves want these qualities. We want to have patience. We want to have people listen to us. We want to be able to speak the truth, to stand up, and to be honest with no regrets. We don't want to lose our minds at every little mistake. For example, I know that there have been several instances in my band class where I've practiced hard and built up the moment in my head, imagining it going perfectly. But when it's actually time, reality does its thing and jacks it up. There are a lot of things we want people to have in them, things we want to happen. But let's face it, is it really ever going to happen? The reality is, people fight and argue. Everyone will get impatient at some point. No one will be listened to and regarded with respect all the time. We won't always be able to take responsibility for our actions. Everyone has their flaws. Even the so-called divine being, the only one who's supposed to be perfect, at least according to the qualities that they gave themselves, mentioned in my Torah portion, has their flaws. My point being, try as you might to be perfect, but always remember, you're only human, at least I should hope. Our best is what we can give. There is no perfect, but if you give your best and be true to yourself, then you'll be a darn good person and an even better you.
So many takeaways. 80-year-old in a bathrobe and sandals. Well, I don't know why that's the one that's... See, everyone's got their favorite hits. People are talking about your greatest hits. Oh, man. I mean, really, that to me is the heart of all of this. How do we, this gap between, our ideals and reality? And I feel like, Seth, part of that is very much your Bar Mitzvah journey, right? This really, I can remember so clearly the first time you and I sat together to talk about this Bar Mitzvah. We were in person, So it was after we had kind of opened up the synagogue again. And I've got this chair in my office. I don't know, how would you describe that chair? It's like the
exercise ball.
It's like, it's the exercise ball in a chair. Someone gave it to me, and hardly anyone uses it. But Seth used it, and it was a bouncy session. Let's just put it that way. I wouldn't call it rocky, but it was bouncy. And you've bounced along, and here you are. You did it. I mean, and I would say that, you're right. Nothing and nobody's perfect. But boy, Seth, you came really close. You really did, and I'm so proud of you. I really am. It's interesting, this Torah portion, and this is the big spoiler alert, is the portion, as Seth mentioned, of the golden calf, the cover of the Siddur. But, well, it's like I like that. It's kind of it's like a ripple. Happy Purim, everybody. But it's interesting because Seth didn't focus on the golden calf or the molten calf, whatever, all the different, that idol. He focused on what's come to be known as the divine attributes. And it's interesting, there are 13 of them, if you count in a certain way, and they become really important. They're part of High Holiday liturgy. We actually chant them. And I think you're right. It's not because we think that God or everybody or whatever, always has all of those attributes. It's what we aspire to. And I'm going to give you a blessing, but I want to also read these words from Rabbi Jim. When Rabbi Jim writes something for you, I'm going to give it to you too, because this was from his heart and pen to yours. Rabbi Jim is at home, but was Seth's tutor in his Torah and Haftorah. So it says, for Seth on Ki Tisa, what to learn from Ki Tisa? Let's take a moment to think about what is packed into the portion. There are so many parts to this portion. The biggest story, I suppose, is the golden calf or molten calf. What is this thing that we got distracted with not long after we received our wisdom, our book of Torah? By some of the commentators, it wasn't another God we were creating, and this goes right to what you said, Seth. It was another leader, Moses, our teacher. Moses, our teacher, said he would be down from the mountain at a certain time, and we counted wrong. We were a day off, and he had not appeared. We need another leader, we said. We felt lost because we were vulnerable. We learned not to be so vulnerable. We learned to trust only the better leaders. We also learned to deepen ourselves in who we are. We learned not to rely on anyone that much. We learned how important learning is. And so we call our main leader, Moses, our teacher, Moshe Rabbeinu. Not Moses, our boss, or Moses, our guide, or Moses, our friend. He is always Moses, our teacher. Even when he delays, we are learning from him, Moses, our teacher. We learn we have a unique wisdom. So said one of our great later teachers, the people Israel. If we deepen ourselves in our unique wisdom, we would never be that vulnerable. I believe this is true. Seth, I made a prayer for you. Be a good student, you will be a good teacher. Be a good citizen, you will be a good teacher. Be a good son, you will be a good teacher. Be a good friend, you will be a good teacher. You will grow into being a good teacher for everyone around you. That's peace, when you make a contribution to your community by being who you are and by withholding a little more for yourself. Because when you are better, your community is better. When your community is better, the world is better. Amen. Bless you, Seth. Amen. It's very special. One more blessing, and then we've got, there's always more because, you deserve it on this day.
And we got like half an hour left.
But who's counting? For you, for your Bar Mitzvah, Shet Michael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheyanu v'kiyanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Amen. Blessed is all that's good and high and holy in the universe. May that force, that spirit who kind of allowed us to come into being. And we praise the universe and the source of all goodness because we have been allowed and privileged to experience this moment with you, Seth, as you became Bar Mitzvah. And we say together, Amen. As I said, we have more blessings, and this one's going to come from a wonderful member of our board of directors, Paul Wagman, who has words of blessing and gifts for you, to you from CRC. It's like 2 trees. Yeah. Sit off the chalk.
Seth, I like to think that you're reading from the Torah, the blessings from the parents that you're about to get, your Devar Torah, those are all great. But the real emotional high point of a Bar Mitzvah is when the board member presents you with a certificate. So gird yourself, young man. Okay. First of all, this is really a wonderful present. These are 2 trees in Israel that are being planted in your name. One in a Jewish section of Israel, one in an Arab neighborhood. And it's our hope that both of these trees will grow and produce fruit. And then one day you'll be able to visit them and be able to visit them both in peace. Okay, that's the first thing. And the second thing here is, well, I'm going to leave it in the bag, but it's a tzedakah jar. Now, you know that tzedakah is charity, and in our tradition, we encourage tzedakah. We say that if you don't need to receive tzedakah, then you need to give tzedakah. And so we give this to you as a reminder of how important that is, and hope that you'll use it to collect tzedakah yourself and to provide it to those in need. Congratulations, young man.
Thank you, Paul.
You're welcome.
Wow. I think you're right, Paul. I think that is the highlight of every bar and bar. I think you're right.
Clearly the spiritual.
Actually, I told Seth before the service that there was something that was happening for the very first time at a CRC B'nai Mitzvah. And I didn't tell him what. But it's kind of exciting for, I guess it's kind of inside baseball. But we have a wonderful person on our staff named Ezra, who's often in the sound booth and streaming booth, but isn't today. But Ezra is on our staff, and he's made a new certificate that we're going to start from this bar mitzvah on to give to our, right? It has the kind of an image of the mosaic that's in our oneg room, and it says, "We are filled with pride and joy that Seth Marshall Coulom has become a bar mitzvah at Central Reform Congregation." So from now on, those of you guys who are still waiting for your bar and bat mitzvahs out there, you will have yours won't say Seth, but you'll have one of these as well. Everyone who before has had a certificate, we just sort of, this is like certificate 4.0 or whatever you want to call it. So that's pretty cool. So another reason for Shehechianu. And at this point in the service, having heard Torah and Haftorah and commentary, we're now ready to return the Torah to the ark. So we want to ask your sister Julia to come back up to open the doors of the ark. And this time we have Grandpa Jim and Grandma Janice, right? Who are going to come and help us. What's that? Denise. I'm sorry, Denise. Grandma Denise and Grandpa Jim to help us return the Torah to the ark to the words of the proverb Eitz Chaim on page 30 that says that Torah, as you've learned from Seth once again, is a tree of life. And how about Seth, you take your job back. Tell everyone they should please.
Rise.
Yeah, he's right. He's right. Hold on one second here.
Eitz Chaim lama chazekim ba v'tov mecha me'oshar derachei darkei noam v'chol netivoteha sharon. Ashivenu
time. Stay standing, sorry. On page 31 and 32, Seth and Rabbi Karen and I are going to turn and face east along with all of you with the words of Aleinu L'Shabeach, guiding us to take the words, the prayers, and everything we've learned today, weave them into our lives so that we can be part of that tikkun of making the world a better place. Aleinu L'Shabeach L'Adon HaKol L'Teikid Ola L'Yoser Breshit Shelo Asanu Kegoyei Haratzot V'lo Samanu K'mishpachot Ha'adama Shelo Sam Chelkeinu Kahem V'goraleinu Kechol Hamonam V'anachnu Korim U'mishtachavim U'modim Lifting Melech Malchei HaMlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shehu Notei Shamayim V'yoser Aretz U'moshav Yikaro B'Shamayim Lima'al Ushkinatu Zo B'Gov Meromim Hu Eloheinu Ein Od Emet Malkeinu Efes Zulato Hakatu B'Torato Yadata Hayom V'Hashevota El Levavecha Ki Adonai Hu HaElohim V'Shamayim Mima'al Ve'al Ha'aretz Mitachat Ein Od Ve'ne'emar V'haya Adonai V'melech al kol ha'aretz V'yom hahu Yeh Adonai echad U'shemo echad.
Please be seated.
Okay. Would like to just take a minute to go through a few announcements. Lots going on, as always. And so I just want to make sure you know what's happening. I am to announce that, let's see, we have, a really amazing upcoming program, really thanks to Rabbi Karen. I don't know, you want to tell them about Rabbi Priestland?
Sure. So this year marks 50 years of women in the rabbinate, which is amazing. And so the first woman ever ordained in the Reform movement is going to be speaking virtually on the 23rd. And so she's going to share about her journey and what it took to become the first female rabbi, and we can all learn from her. She's pretty amazing.
So you can check on CRC's website, or if you're a member and receive our emailed newsletter, it'll give you the link and how to join that amazing Zoom with Rabbi Priestland. Our own Rabbi Susan was not too far after. Mm-hmm. I think Rabbi Susan's first year rabbinical school was Rabbi Priestland's last year in the early 70s. So anyways, that should be a really great program coming up on Wednesday. All kinds of classes happening. Sunday, no shanda, no shame. These are all virtual. 1 o'clock. Grief support group is today. I think. It says January 8th. It's not January 8th, is it?
No, it was last week.
Okay, yeah, this might, okay.
I think it was last year.
Okay. Look for the next grief support group. It really is wonderful. Jamie Sentnor does a great job. And Inner Judaism, Wednesday at 7. You can, again, find that on our CRC website. Couple of opportunities to give. Again, as Paul said, Tikkun Olam. This new initiative that we have is that CRC is helping to sponsor a family who are recently here as refugees from Afghanistan. There are communities all over the country who are sponsoring families to help them get settled. It is 36 times in the Hebrew Bible, it tells us how we're supposed to receive newcomers with love and with justice and with welcoming. And so there is a wonderful family that is now here in St. Louis with children. It says there are opportunities to give financially to help the family or via an Amazon wish list. And there's information, again, on the website, but we want to make sure everyone knows that the family has just arrived to St. Louis, and they've already met our core team. And then, this is probably on behalf of Autumn and Rabbi Daniel, our AV club is looking for, that audiovisual, is looking for volunteers to learn how to produce our Shabbat services, what Rabbi Daniel's doing right now with Gavi. Opportunities include learning how to run cameras, a sound mixing board, and more. We especially need volunteers willing to moderate the chat and host the Zoom, which can be done from home, and you can contact Autumn with questions. Autumn, like the season, at centralreform.org. So all kinds of opportunities, and even more than I've mentioned. So hope you get involved, and we're glad you're here today. And now we're going to transition to remembrance. The end of every service gives us a time to stop whatever's going on and remember those we've loved and lost, those people in our lives who've passed away. And Seth's going to start things off with some remembrances from his own family.
I would like to remember my great-grandpa Petrosky, my great-grandpa Warner, my great-grandparents Al and Celeste Krause, my great-grandparents Harry and Norma Jean, my great-great-great-aunt Lee, my great-uncle Bob Graff, the family dog Clark, my pet fish Frank and Jaws, and my parents' cats Taz and Zelda.
Maybe their memories be a blessing. So we also want to give everyone here that wants an opportunity to stand or say a name, whether you're in your year of mourning, a traditional sort of period of time where we purposefully say the names of our loved ones, or if this is the yahrzeit, the anniversary of the death of someone from your life. We ask you to stand, and we'll hear the names of the people you're remembering. We'll add them to our list of all the names of the wonderful people who we're remembering. So we'll start with Lisa.
I'd like to remember my brother, Michael Huxley, and my good friend, Louise Morgan.
We remember them with you. Thank you. Thanks. Susan.
I'd like to remember
Shirley Patisha. Can picture her right here in her spot. Thank you. Karen.
my sister-in-law's brother, Jimmy, who's funeral today.
Oh my gosh. So sorry for everyone's loss, Karen. Thank you. Paul.
Two people, my father, Elmer Wagner, who died 50 years ago, he's sweet, and my wife's brother, who died this past week in Colombia, Fernando Cardona Cortez.
Oh no, so sorry for that recent loss. Condolences to your family in 50 years. And that's part of this tradition, right? You know, there's lots of ways to remember, but that you stand up on his yahrzeit and remember him. Really, so we're thinking about you. And it's Aaron, yeah.
My grandfather, Bob Ellis.
Of blessed memory. Thank you. Glad you're here with your family. Thank you. And in back.
My mother, Shirley Patricia.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, we'll be thinking about Shirley forever. Forever. Thank you.
One addition on this side.
Yes. Did I miss somebody?
I think over here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, please. Oh, your teacher. What grade were they a teacher of? Oh, I'm so sorry. So sorry. Wow. Way to honor your teacher by saying their name. Thank you. Daniel, Rabbi Daniel, any names from the stream?
Ryan Minus, Judith Dawson, who's Tristan's mom of blessed memory. Let's see. Janice Marks and Del Mason.
Oh my. You know, many of you remember Del was part of our family and staff of CRC. On Friday nights especially, Del would get when we had food here, and we will again, but when we would have food here after services, Del was one of the people that really helped put out the food with love, and she was just a great, great person. So thank you for those names. How about if everyone stands that's able, stand together, and we have more names.
And Rabbi Randy, I'm sorry. It is also Eileen Ehrlich's husband's
right.
yahrzeit today, Richard Ehrlich.
Richard Ehrlich, thank you. Yeah, again, I can see Eileen and Richard's seats as well, and thank you for saying that. So Some more yard sites. We're remembering Vivian Becker, who was John Becker's mom and Leanie's mother-in-law. I know the family's watching on the stream, so for Vivian of blessed memory. Also the yard site of Esther Adelstein, who was David Adelstein's mother and Cheryl's grandma. Seymour Weintraub, Fran's father. It's the yard site of little Jonah Baker, a little boy who is the grandson of our members Harvey and Jane. And I know that they were wanting to hear Jonah's name, and I visited Jonah in the hospital just before he passed away. Beautiful little boy. So we're remembering him on this yard site. I believe it's his 4th yard site. Also, Laser Black, Evan Cutler's grandfather. I guess, Ben, it's your great-grandfather, yeah? Yeah. Oh my. And Lester Holtzman and Lois Margolis, Susan Balk's father. Lisa Morrow, who was Karen Hyman's sister. Also, Janet Ameton, Larry's mother. Jacob Cass, Susan Glassman's father, and Michael Kraft, Steve Kraft's dad. It's the yard site also of Mike Steinbaum. Mike, wonderful person and friend, husband of Deb Dubin and Max and Charlie's dad. Richard Weiss, father of our member, also named Richard Weiss, Dick Weiss. Herbert Davison, who was Daniel Davison's father. As Eileen said on the chat, Richard Ehrlich. Maggie Mackel, a member of CRC who donated, there's a little bench in the vestibule because Maggie used to have to get a ride from those ride services, and she would always want a chair in that while she waited for her ride, and she donated one, and now it's sort of a tribute to her as well. Stan, it's the yard site of your friend Rubetta of blessed memory, and then Ursula Wayne. I taught religious school with Ursula at the church across the street. That's the mother of Isabel Baumnolker and Jane Wayne's daughter. And then some of our recent losses include, here we go. Most recently, Phyllis Leventhal and Aubrey Yowitz, the father of Nancy and Carol Don. Shirley Patisha has been mentioned. Richard Bushman and Dorothy Silverberg. Babette Young and Art Lash, Gloria's husband, Jeff Lash's father and a wonderful grandfather. Friday night regular. Selena Green and Dr. Paige Powers, Rabbi Karen's cousin. Mert Arnowitz-Woolman. And then our members that we're remembering include Susan Carlson, Ruth Gustorf, Pat Denlow, Bob's wife, Kyle Currier, Holly Currier's husband and Noah and Josiah's dad, Sam Nussbaum, and Linda Holtzman, and Karen Margot and Janice Marks, Judge Roberta Hitt, a member and neighbor down the street here, and Andy Neiman, and Vicky's father, Ed Lander, Alex Hochberg, the son of Steve and Gail Hollefeld, Jill's mom, Orietta Cohn and Michael Kiernan, Deb Catan's husband, and Marcel Pollock. We're getting towards the yard site of Sharon Pollock's mother, Marcel. May all of their memories forever and ever be a blessing. Go ahead, Mel. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Rabbi Daniel. Thank you, Mel. Grief support is today. I believe it's usually around 12:30. Jamie Sentnor runs a wonderful, it's obviously very fitting as we talk about Kaddish and our loved ones. So if you'd like, even if you've never been to grief support before and you feel the need to join them, they welcome everybody. So thank you. That is today. And on page 33, with pictures of great-grandpa Petrosky. Beautiful. Let's all together say the words of our mourners' Kaddish. Yit kadal v'yit kadash shemei rabba be'alma divra kirute v'yamlich malchute v'chai echon v'yom echon v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael Bagala uvizman kari ve'imru amen. Yehi shemei rabba mivarach le'olam olmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitale v'yitalal shemei dekudesha barichu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlam rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen.
Say shalom b'mromah, huya say shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru amen, ve'imeru amen.
Amen. We ask you to be seated just for one more moment because there are more blessings, Seth. Very, very special and important blessings. These are blessings from your mom on behalf of your mom and dad. So come on up. Julie, you'll be up in a second. You can come up with them. Come on up. Come on.
Hi. All right, Seth, our sweet Bubba man. Well, we made it. Actually, you made it. I wasn't sure that one or both of us was going to actually survive this process, but we did. So major thanks to your dad, your teachers, our rabbis, Essie, and so many others are in order. All of them helped us along this path of getting you and me to and through your bar mitzvah. The passage of time is very weird, and despite the fact that I'm a history teacher, I have zero understanding of how time moves the way it does. We can easily look at you and see so many days and years flash by in an absolute blur, where poignant moments shine very brightly, whether they were truly major events or not. Moments where we laughed until we cried, or we just were crying. When you made us frustrated, when you made us proud. As we've been getting ready for your bar mitzvah, as we really got down to the wire, I'm absolutely shocked that we're already here and done, we're done, right? In my mushy comprehension of time, you were just born, just walking and talking, just starting school, but at the same time, the incredibly funny, intelligent guy that we know and love has been growing up and doing all the things every day. We're so deeply impressed with you and the person you are, the person you've always been, and the person you are becoming. We've had a lot of very big conversations about what it means to be Jewish in our lives. And while that picture will come into focus over the course of our lives, we hope that you are as proud of this accomplishment as we are of you today. We hope that you have learned lessons that will unfold throughout your life about hard work, perseverance, and persistence. We have talked about the importance of traditions in our lives, even if we modify traditions to fit who we are. Being linked to our past, to our family, to our community is a gift, and one of the best parts about being human. And one of the most important things about being Jewish, about being human, is always asking questions, wanting to know more, not accepting things just because someone else said it was so. You've always been exceptional at asking tough, thought-provoking questions in order to puzzle out your own ideas. It is our hope that not only will you value this accomplishment of becoming a bar mitzvah, but also the lessons you learned along the way. You are stronger, smarter, and deeper in character than I think even you know. We hope that you also come away today and going forward with a deeper appreciation for your family history, traditions, story, and whatever those end up meaning to you as you put your own puzzle pieces together. In your teaching today, you told us today what it means to strive to get closer to our own high standards, to always work to close that gap between reality and the ideal. We are grateful that you, our eldest child, the one who made us parents, teaches us how to raise our own standards for the behaviors and what we model for what we want you and Julia to be, in patience, in love, in fun, in all the other stuff that we do all the time, right? And by being honest about so many things that are in your heart and mind. Our reality for you is that you continue to find your happiness and the things that you must work hard for along the way, the things that you want to work hard for and the things that you have to work hard for. And the success at whatever you choose to set your mind to, and whatever I make you set your mind to. You are already one of the most gentle, funniest, and clever people we know. You know your own mind and heart at a level that is incredibly mature and self-aware for someone your age. Our wishes for you are that you continue to explore the world in your intellect, to always have the wisdom to stand for what is right, and to use your many gifts to get us all closer to the ideal that we have set for ourselves and can offer each other as friends, family, and community. Seth, we love you very much and are incredibly proud of you today and every day. Thank you for being one of the very best people around, for speaking your mind, for thinking deep thoughts, for making us laugh, and for sharing your kind heart. We love you, Bub, and we're so proud of you today and always.
Amen.
I love you.
Aw. You guys, oh man, you guys stay here. Here, Seth, one more time. This is truly the last time you'll say this at your bar mitzvah. Tell everyone to.
Please rise.
Oh, so often, or almost always, when we're not kind of dealing with a pandemic, we would make blessings for wine and challah, but we're not yet at the point where we can eat and drink in the synagogue. We are monitoring really closely, and I think things are getting better. And Paul's on the board, and we've got other board members here. We're really paying attention, and when we feel like we're ready to do that and it's safe to do that again, and I don't think it'll be that long if things go in the same direction. We'll be doing that. We'll be making those blessings. But we do have one blessing that has nothing to do with food or drink. It's the way we close every service here. We want to make sure that we offer our bar mitzvah young man, Seth, but each other blessings of peace. I don't know, Rabbi Daniel, are you able to come out from behind there and join us on the bima? Oh, good. Like right now, everyone's watching their screens go, he said no.
Oh, good.
Okay. Well, then you get the third blessing. Oh, what are you doing?
He's putting our fifth grader in charge of the street.
Oh, cool. You go, Gavi. See, even a fifth grader can do it. Come on up. Exactly. So depending on, again, your comfort level, want to make sure everyone feels okay. You can put your arms over each other if you don't want to put them around each other. We want to put our arms also around Seth, Shet Michael, our newest bar mitzvah. We're so proud of you, really. And thanks everyone for being here. Hold this feeling with you through the rest of Shabbat and the week, all of us connected to each other and arms over each other. This is what it's all about, So we say, Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you now and always. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka.
And may we take some of this light that Seth brought to the Shabbat service through his teachings and his leading, and may we take it out into our world for goodness and for kindness.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
And most of all, Seth, can we take your teachings to heart? Can our world be a better, more peaceful, more loving place? Our city, a more loving, peaceful place? Our country, our state, and for all of us here, a peaceful, loving Shabbat and week.
So let's say Amen, and Shabbat Shalom, and Mazel Tov to Seth.
Simin topper, mazel topper, mazel topper, simin topper, mazel topper, mazel topper, simin topper, mazel topper, simin topper, hey, Israel,
Uncle Jonathan. Everyone say hi, Uncle Jonathan. Thanks, everybody. That concludes the service. Have a great afternoon.
You want to sing hallelujah? Come on up. He's in the world, that's what we ask. To heal the world, we've made our task. With help from all the angels here among us. They may look just like you and me. No wings or halo you can see. Perhaps you'll hear them singing hallelujah. 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 You see them everywhere you go. They never tell you, cannot know. They probably don't think that they are special. They feed your kids and calm your fears. They lift you up and dry your tears. And some of them are singing